Hello, this video is about irregular plurals. First of all, the very irregular ones, which there are half a dozen, then the ones that look plural, I just underlined look there, and the ones that, because they're not really, and the ones that look singular. I'll just underline look again because they're not really. Hope you enjoy it. We're looking at three ways of forming the plural which are irregular. First of all, the 6 very irregular plural forms we have in English. Well, there are more than 6, but 6 common ones. And I'll put the initials of 3 of them up here. The M, the W, and the Ch. You need to look at the computer picture to get them. 2 of them. It's man, plural men, and it's woman. I'll just write woman there, plural women. And I'm going to write the way we pronounce the plural there, women. It's woman, women, quite different, the two sounds. And now ch is for child, again a difference, child, children, child, children. And here are 3 more. These 3 are all connected to the 2 boys, the t, the f, and the m. Can you get which ones they are? T, boy on the right, tooth, he's got lots of teeth, and foot, they've both got feet, and finally in the boy's right pocket and in his hand, mouse and 2 mice. And if you look a bit further, actually there aren't 2 mice in the picture, there are 3, because there's one on the computer table as well. So 1, 2, 3 mice. Now let's move on to a different kind of irregular plural. These are the words which, and I'll just write it up here, they look like plural, but they're not. And in the picture you can see news on the newspaper, you can see measles and mumps, you can see mathematics, economics, and so on. So I'll start off on the left here by writing news. And I'll write the complete sentence there. The news is good. Now notice something about the verb after news. It's is. It's not are, it's is. So that's singular, right? Well, the answer to that is yes and no, and I'll come back to that at the end. In the meantime, if you want to talk about a singular news item, you have to use a rather different phrase, and here it is, a news item, or another one, a news story, both commonly used. In fact, I'll put in the second one, I'm going to just put brackets around news because it's so often journalists talk about a story, hopefully, usually true. Right, let's move on. Now I'm going to write over on the other side here mathematics and economics, which I got from the poster at the behind the picture there, and I'll add athletics and politics. And we don't actually say mathematics. What we normally say is math or maths, but the word is actually mathematics. To show they're not plural, I'll write in a sentence with after the word politics. So here we go. Politics is the art of the impossible. I can't remember who said that, but I think it's true. Now, what do those 4 words have in common? They have, of course, ix. I'll write ix up there. They have ix in common. They all end in ix. Now moving on, here are 2 words connected with illnesses. Here's the first one, measles. Measles, you come out in spots. It's not very nice. In fact, so much is it not nice, it is sometimes fatal. Measles is sometimes fatal. Notice we say is. And here's another one. Mumps is not good for children and is much worse for grown-ups. So another little group, diseases. There are several illnesses. Now on a more cheerful note, here are some games. I'll pull in the first one, billiards. Billiards is singular. And here's another one. Dominoes is singular. And here's another one. I'll drag in a whole sentence this time. Darts is popular in pubs. They're games. Now everything on this page has something in common. They look like plurals, but they're not. They're not exactly singular either, but I'll come back to that. In the meantime, here's the next screen, and we're looking at a number of different people, and they all have this in common. The words look singular, but they aren't So it's the opposite of the previous screen. And I'll write the first word on the left here. You can guess what it's going to be, I think, probably. Police. Police looks singular, but it isn't. The police, and I'll write the complete sentence here, control the highways. Notice that control hasn't got an S. Why not? Because the word police is plural. Now, if you want to talk about the police in the singular, you'll have to have a different phrase. Here we are. A policeman is standing there. Or, if you like, more than one. I'll write in 2 police women are doing whatever they're doing. So policeman is truly singular. Now, if you want to talk about singular, a group, you'd have to talk about the police force. I'll write that, the police force. And of police forces, you can have more than one. You could have a London police force and a Scottish police force or French police force. So I can write here a plural, forces. So the word police is apparently plural. But I'll come back to that at the end. In the meantime, let's go to the right and I'll just write the word people up there. But I want to put it in a sentence so that I'll just write the people were waiting. Were, you notice, not was. Now, if you want to talk about one person, you would usually use the name or man, woman. You could also use the word person. And here's an example. One person at a time, please. Deliberately chosen to avoid mentioning the gender. So it's a bit formal. So I'll write the word formal there. And here's an example of the plural, which is even more. Here we go. Crimes committed by person or persons unknown. That's very formal. So formal, I'm going to write frozen here. By frozen language, I mean the kind of language used in legal documents and notices. And now to finish, I want to just briefly mention something I mentioned earlier. Are these words singular or plural? The short answer is that they are neither. They are uncountable. Uncountable, or if you like, they are mass nouns, or they are non-count nouns. And we'll have a video on that next week. But before you go, you might like to test yourself. Below your screen there's a link to a Test Yourself page, which is a PDF you can print or do on screen. Scroll down the PDF and you'll find the answers. Thanks for watching and bye for now.